hold this sort of the way it will look on a human. So, okay, so shall I tell you? You can start rolling. So let's look at this lateral, medial, because that tells you a lot. If you don't know what's lateral and medial on the leg, you know, you just kind of like gonna have to work harder. So let's look at the large muscles here. Vastus means big, and there's two big quadricep muscles on either side of the kneecap. This one's on the medial surface, so this is the vastus medialis. Kind of makes sense, huh? This is the vastus lateralis on the lateral side. And then straight up the middle, because rectus means straight, is the rectus femoris, coming straight up there. And their actions when they shorten, contract, are going to bring the knee forwards like that. All right. Very powerful action, very important, yeah, for running, sprinting, whatever. So we have these huge muscles. Since it's their quadricep, there is a fourth muscle group under the rectus femoris. So while these are extending the knee, if we look to the medial surface, any muscles in here are going to be adductors, meaning add to the middle, and they're going to bring the leg inwards. Okay? So you don't have to memorize so much if you just think about when these muscles shorten, the leg has to go medially, and we call that adduction. So we can see the Sartorius, which is a very long muscle, extending all the way down to the tibia here. Sartorius is kind of a weird adduction, like sometimes called the cobbler's muscle, because it kind of brings the, it still is an adductor, but it has a weird adduction process. Then we have the adductor longus, which is often injured, especially if someone's out of shape and then they go running really fast. Adductor longus. A lot of athletes, their careers have ended because of this one. And then pectineus, another adductor you get a little peek of right there. Another adductor is the gracilis, and it comes right along the inseam of your pants. Sometimes it's nicknamed the inseam muscle. And gracilis or graceful, because ballet dancers often use that to adduct. Right? So there's the gracilis right down the middle, right down the seam of the pants. On the lateral side, we have what's called the tensor fascia lata. And it's kind of a good name because it connects to this iliotibial band that extends all the way from the ilium. All right, so good name. Ilio, all the way down to the tibia. And this is one sometimes people get a foam roll. They try to roll it, especially in older patients, because this tissue dries out as we age. It desiccates is the word. And so a lot of your patients are going to have pain there. And I'll tell you, you can't really relieve it with a foam roll. It feels good while they're doing it, though. All right, let's look here. This muscle you don't hear about much, the psoas. The psoas muscles, they're huge, but they're deep. And there's a psoas major that comes all the way up here. And then on the medial side, you get a little peek of the psoas minor. And so when you do things like this, you're stretching the psoas. Okay, the psoas, very deep muscle. We won't worry about the iliacus. It's right there. On to, now we're getting to the posterior surface. These are just called hamstrings collectively, but they each have a name. The one on the medial surface, again, you got to think about where you are. Medial surface. Hold on, I'm on the lateral. Okay, medial here. Yeah, medial is the semi tendonosis. See that long tendon? So semi tendonosis going all the way up, and it's nestled in a semi membranosis. Okay, and this is one I call a hot dog in a bun, because the semi tendonosis on a cadaver and a human, it looks like a hot dog, and then the membranosis kind of wraps around it a little bit. On the model, you don't get the same effect, but semi tendonosis, semi membranosis, and those are going to be deep as far as they're on the medial surface. Lateral surface, the large biceps femoris. We know we have a bicep brachii. We also have a biceps femoris right here on the lateral side. And together, they're going to flex. Just like this bicep does, this bicep does as well. It's going to flex the knee, leg back, kind of opposes some of the action of the anterior muscles. So you have that antagonistic kind of action, which is cool. On the lower part of the leg, gastroc, because gastro means stomach. Gastrocnemius, this is the lateral belly. and the medial belly is missing. It should be right there. And they're attached to the calcaneus of the heel via the calcaneal tendon. Largest tendon in the body used to be called Achilles tendon. And sometimes when there's an injury, this tendon's so strong that rather than break or tear, it'll pull out a piece of bone. Isn't that cool? It doesn't want to tear. Just think of our ancestors, right? If that thing tears, you're done. You're dead. The hyena are going to eat you. Okay, the action of the gastrocnemius and the muscle underneath, the synergist muscle that helps it out, is the soleus. Because if the gastrocnemius fails, we have a backup called the soleus. Their action is the same, and that is called plantar flexion. Plantar flexion is when you go up on your toes. And you know, that's a pretty important action, right? Big muscle, very important because we're looking for our enemies, or we're looking for prey. And so this action there deserves a big muscle, the calf or gastrocnemius. On the anterior surface, you know, these actions aren't as important. What's called dorsiflexion, bringing your toes up. I mean, how often do you do that in a day? So, small actions, small muscles. Find the tibia, we know that bone, the tibia, and the first muscle you run into is going to be the anterior tibialis. You see that? It extends all the way down into the foot. Next to that, the very next muscle, if you track it down, it's going to go into the big toe, and the technical name for toe is hallux. So this is called the extensor, Hallucis longus. Right, it's a long toe muscle, basically, if you want to translate extensor, Hallucis longus. And then the very next muscle, it goes to several toes. So just like, remember there's an extensor digitorum in the hand, extensor digitorum in the foot, extensor digitorum longus, because it's very long. So those are three anterior muscles for dorsiflexion, bringing the toes upwards. Right. So as here I talked about, let's look at the rotator muscles, because another important action is rotation. Because our enemies are coming, we want to be ready for them. So big action, big muscle. We have the gluteus maximus, and underneath the gluteus medius right here. Okay, so these are rotator muscles, very powerful. But this action is so important that we can't just rely on that. Because what if the gluteus fails us? Well, we have these internal rotators. One's called a piriformis, which means pear-shaped in Latin. It's kind of shaped like a pear, right? And then right under it is the sciatic nerve. This massive nerve goes down in the leg, and it's a problem for many people. It's called sciatica. Because if you injure the piriformis, like you're squatting, you're lifting improperly, then it's going to pinch the sciatic, and it's ended a lot of careers. Under the sciatic is the gemellus. Now, gemellus means twin, and there's two gemellus muscles. There's gemellus superior and gemellus inferior, and in between them is the obturator internus. So there's an old story that these two twins were together, but then for some reason the obturator broke up that nice situation right here. Under the gemellus inferior is the four-sided kind of view of the quadratus femoris. Quadratus femoris right here. Okay, so running through these again. Gluteus medius, piriformis, superior gemellus, obturator foramen. I'm sorry, that's the bone. Obturator internus, gemellus inferior, quadratus femoris. I think we got it.